So I hope that answers your question.
Man, my spiritual advisor, Staten Island, shout out. You already know what it is, Shaolin Island, baby. We do this, Brooklyn to Shaolin Island all day, baby. We pay.
Good evening, all you beautiful people. How's it going? Let's get the likes up, guys. Let's hit that like button. And I would ask all of you to subscribe to our channel. If you're not subscribed, it will only take you a hot second to do so. So this way you can get the push notifications about when our videos go live and you can tune in. Our next question comes from Linda Leilani Brown from Los Angeles, California. And Linda asks, I noticed when I make offerings such as steak meals and a high number of repetitions to the gods, I get better results in my life. Is this the key, or is it just my life? Do we have to do a lot more than the normal to get results? Well, Leilani, what happens is, and I've said this many times before, if you're going to put an apple on your altar, that's cute. But if you're going to take the time to make a T-bone steak and season it up, now, let's say you don't eat meat, that's fine. Doesn't mean that the gods will not appreciate the energy that goes into you procuring an expensive cut of meat. The gods are not vegetarian, except Lord Krishna. But most people, we're not, talking about Lord Krishna. We're talking about the entire agency of the God system. And when you put a steak that you make on your altar, or someone else makes, it's not going to be raw. Let's start with that. You want to cook the steak in a manner in which would be good for you to consume, right? And you want to season it up, flavor it up, and place it lovingly, respectfully, and with the highest intent on your altar before the statue of the god as an offering from you to them. The reason that, Leilani, you have had higher results, as you say, in your life is because the deity realizes that you are seeking a more refined, higher power range of his attention or her attention. And you really can't get that kind of power if you're just going to put a fig Newton on your altar. It's not going to get it. Some people are a little cheap when it comes to giving offerings to the gods. As a result, the gods will take note of that. And what really that equates to is that you really don't want a lot of my power because you're giving me so little to catalyze. Doesn't that make sense? So the next part of your question, you say, or you ask, do we have to do a lot more than normal to get results? Well, that analogy, again, using the gymnasium or the gym, people go to the gym. I see them all the time. Really skinny, scrawny, undeveloped people that have no muscle maturity. Now, you take someone like that who goes to the gym and, they're in there and they're like, oh, I want to look like him. But that guy that you're looking at as a model, someone that you want to emulate, has been in the gym for 15 years. Eats a certain way 5 days a week and has maybe 2 cheat days. He may only take off a month or 2 months out of the entire 12-month cycle. It's become a way of life for him. So this skinny, scrawny, undeveloped person who comes to the gym is a little out of their range when they think that they're going to have that kind of development in any less than at least 10 years. So, Leilani, when you look at the energy that will come back to you from the gods, it's a lot like that analogy. Yes, you have to do more if you want more. If you want more of the power that the gods have to offer, you have to use more of your intent, ritual, magic, and good old-fashioned being to give to them to elucidate that you are ready for more of what they have to offer. If you do more and you give higher quality offerings, they will give you stronger energy. Let's use a simple example, right? One of the things that we did was, this is a go-go flags. See that? See this right now? You take it, you fold it towards you once, you fold it towards you, you fold it towards you again, and then you fold it like this. Then you take it and you
The man says the money from my departed family cousins up to my granny bird. The man says the money from my departed family cousins up to my granny bird.
This way. You burn these edges, the flame will go, and then you put it down like this. This is a 1 followed by 100 sets of zeros. There is nothing like this available anywhere on the planet. When you send this over as an offering, not only to your ancestors, but as an offering to the gods, it gets their attention because there is a lot more power in it. Look at the size of it. Look at the fact that there are 100 sets of zeros that follow the 1. No other ancestor money has that. So what happens as a result? If you go to our Facebook page and you look at a lot of the things that people are experiencing by virtue of them utilizing the higher notes, they're getting an answer and a result a lot faster than any other kind of denomination that's out there. It's really no different from if you go to the gym for 5 minutes, how much development do you think you're going to walk out of the gym with? If you go to the gym for a half an hour, 5 times a week, and you eat McDonald's every day, and you drink Diet Coke, or you drink Snapple, the best crap on earth, how well do you think your muscularity is going to respond to the absence of finer nutrition within your body? So you take someone who goes to the gym 5 days a week and their diet is alkaline. They have a reduction of fried foods, sugar, and other sweets and things that impede muscular cell growth and doesn't allow for, or that allows for anabolic exchange. The muscles don't go into a dilapidated state that they cannot grow. It's the same thing spiritually. When you're doing things spiritually in your life, it's going to catalyze a larger magnitude of a result in the framework of your life stream. And if you are doing very little and you're putting fig Newtons on your altar and you're burning ancestor money once a week and you're not giving to your ancestors and to the gods a demonstration of how you want them to operate within your life, you're making the antithetical statement, which is, hey, I could do it all by myself. I don't need your help. And so be it. So shall that be the case. But as far as I know, life is a very huge area that we need all the help that we can get in order to manifest just sustaining and having a life that is worth living. Doesn't that make sense? Don't get me started, guys, because I'll have you here for the next 24 hours. And you guys don't want to do that, right? Our next question comes from another one of my students, Chris Santiago. And Chris asks, the situation right before us, and this is somewhat of an edited, I'm going to get right to the crux of your question, Chris. And you ask, the D-Wave quantum computer, the creator says it is the creator of the computer, not the creator of all, right? So let's make that clear. The creator of the D-Wave quantum computer, and I bet you thought I wasn't going to answer this question in it, but the creator of that particular D-Wave quantum computer says it is reaching into parallel universes to draw back information. He also says to be prepared for a massive influx of negative entities coming through the openings who will not care anything about us. All these things are pending. I understand this may be too sensitive for Alive, but definitely want to see that addressed for our preparations. Thank you, Sri Master. Thank you, Chris. Well, that's a great question that you ask. And one of the things that I would say, it's really quite simple. Are you guys ready? When it comes to our government and the governments, the rulership, the monarchy, of our world collectively, having space programs and seeking to have a unified governorship. I'll get into that later. But let's just deal with CERN, I get lots of questions about. Let's deal with the plagues that are going on. We have in China and throughout the Orient the coronavirus. People eating bats soup, which is ridiculous. Those same cousins of those bats in Australia are creating havoc and bat droppings. And the smell, from what I understand, is beyond pugnacious. This is creating an environment of literal dysentery, going back to the Dark Ages. And this is not healthy for people to even breathe in the oxygen of that kind of putrefaction. You also have in Africa a torrent, a plague of locusts that are causing millions into the billions of dollars of damage across the ecological system. We depend on all of these things. And I want you guys to know something. We are all connected. This affects all of us in the short term, but especially in the long term. There is a spiritual reason why these things continue to tap us on the shoulder and present themselves. So getting back to your question, Chris, when you look at the reality of going into other universes, you can't just extricate certain data and information from that universe that is only good. You can't just sift through, well, we only want the good stuff, without also taking as well simultaneously opposite side of the polarity, which would be the negative aspects. And yes, it is true that the going into of other dimensions and other universes which are right next to ours is going to have a negative consequence, because now we're opening up an invitation for some of the things that they are vexed with in bringing them here. The problem with that, Chris, very, very simple, is that here on planet Earth, we still have not even solved our own internal conflicts, wars, disagreements, skirmishes, chattel slavery, Holocaust. There are still people being decapitated. I watched something, and guys, please forgive me, but I have to illuminate this, right? One of the things that fuel my resolve to constantly create content for Galacticus is me knowing what goes on in the world. And there's a video somewhere on Facebook. I don't know if it's still there, but I believe I downloaded it, and I'm going to make my students look at it at the next seminar that we have. It's important for us to look at some of these things. There was a woman that was somewhere in, I'm assuming, an Arab country. They dug a hole for her and they threw her in the hole. She was covered up to here. And then the mob around her, which was predominantly men, went on to stone this woman for 3.5 minutes. They had the nerve to, one guy was like, stop, stop, stop. And he took the scarf, the pashmina, and placed it over her head. And then they continued to barrage her body with these stones. I got very angry when I saw that, because they were saying Allahu Akbar. They were pontificating the name of the sustainer of the boundless universe according to Al-Quran as they stoned this woman, helpless woman, to death. Now, I don't know what this woman did to deserve that, but I don't think it warranted her being publicly stoned to death. Why couldn't you just put her in jail? Put her in the corner somewhere if she did something that was that heinous. I don't know if she killed someone, but it was awful to see. And I've seen people in Africa decapitated, burned alive. I've seen horrible things. This kind of darkness is what is happening right now, to date, 2020. It's happening right now. And how in the world are we going to care about extraterrestrial races trying to get off the planet, trying to get full disclosure, when we ourselves are still in disharmony of stoning women to death, decapitating people in crude methods like literally sawing their heads off while a row of other people waiting to be decapitated? These videos are out there. These things are happening. There is an elusive nature to the things that we can have in juxtaposition to what we already have. We are allowing people, even in America, to starve to death. There's more than enough food to feed everyone on the planet. But some of the restaurants don't want to take the leftover food. They'd rather let it spoil and throw it out than take it to Meals on Wheels and provide some of the food shelters and the soup banks for people who don't have anything to eat. And this is one of the reasons why higher beings and gods look at our world as a very primitive place that is not developed to the point where we deserve to know what really goes on outside of the quarantine that we are in at the moment. It is a fantasy for us to think that we can really consider ourselves fully conscious citizens that deserve a seat at the table when we still allow the effects of chattel slavery, non-reparation, human trafficking to exist without demanding something about it. We have a president in our office who most likely will be the president for a second term, guys. We allow ourselves to be distracted by the foolishness of what we allow our pastimes to be. So when you guys ask me questions about, the particle accelerator and CERN and all of these other things, it's cute, but we need to focus more on the man in the mirror first, the woman in the mirror. We don't need to be distracted by what's going on in the stars before we get our own selves in order first. When people come to me and say, hey, I want to know what's in the Pleiades, I want to know what's on the Vega's star system, I could easily say to them, well, it doesn't really matter if your life is not spiritually aligned. Your ancestors are looking at you like you're crazy. Why are you asking him questions about what's going on outside of your own reality when you are ignoring your own ancestors? And your divine parents are, well, I've given you all the gifts that you haven't even opened up yet. Can you imagine having Christmas, Kwanzaa, and you go downstairs and there's lots of gifts that your parents have worked so hard to procure and wrap up, put a bow on, and you simply go downstairs and ignore those presents, and those presents sit there for a week, a month, a year? How do you think your parents will feel when they see that? Oh, you don't want the gifts that I've placed within your life. It would be pretty weird, and this is something that happens every day when people don't take the time to go within and unearth certain basic things. Why do we need our ancestors? Because the ancestors have the script. They know why you're here. A lot of people struggle with not knowing what their purpose is here on earth. Your ancestors know. They actually co-signed your purpose by allowing you to have that body that you're living in. So it's something to consider, that spend a certain amount of time getting your own life together before you start looking outward into how you can affect change. Because again, the change that you will see in the world is contingent upon how well you change your own life. One of the things I also would say to that, Chris, is that the consequence of us being affected by what's going on in CERN has a bearing on how well we work together as a humanity before the beings that they're trying to reach, because that's what CERN is all about. That's what these agendas are all about. They're knocking on the door to other realities. Our next question comes from Lisa Thomas Finney on Facebook. And Lisa asks, how often is it recommended to burn our ancestor money? How often for the ancestors' money overall? I have my own system I've been doing every week, but I just want to make sure things are done correctly. Well, Lisa, if you have your own system and you see that it's working well for you, continue to do that. My personal recommendation is that you burn ancestor money every day until your life shows the result, until you get what you want. You keep doing ritual until you get the result out of it that you want to have. You keep going to the gym until you have transformed your health to a clean slate. You keep going to the gym every day, at least with some regularity, that your body shows the result of why you're going. It is no different when you're talking about spiritual interface. You want to keep doing it and build it into the apparatus of your life so that it shows clearly the result of why you're doing it. You want to make it part of your life. A lot of people say, you know, I have a friend who used to be a student, Lisa Gisao. She probably is not watching this video, but she's on Staten Island. And she owns a Staten Island massage business. We talked the other day, and I said, hey, Lisa, do you still have an altar? Are you still interfacing with your altar? And she says, oh, I don't have the time. I work 12 hours a day. And I said, okay, I just left it alone. Do I need to go into that, guys? Nah, I don't need to go into that, right? Okay, cool. Okay, so Lisa, when you have the benefit of regularity that you are giving to your ancestors, my recommendation is every day. It takes less than a minute out of a 24-hour day. For those of you who are good in math, how many minutes are in one day? Go ahead, figure it out. Take out your calculator. Some of you might even know it right now. How many minutes are in a 24-hour day? Baltimore Butler. How you doing, Baltimore? Baltimore says 1440. Sergio says it's 1,000. Okay, Sergio. Wrong. Let's just say, hypothetically, it's 1440. You have 1,440 minutes. 144. Interesting. We'll get back to that. 1440. 1,440 minutes. Ancestor money, even if you are burning a Gadalagon, which is this big, right? This big. It's big, people. It's a big note, right? And you fold it towards you once. You fold it towards you again. And then you fold it this way. And then you burn it like this. We're not going to burn it here, but this is what it looks like. This will take you less than 3 of those 1,440 minutes. Now, you're going to tell me that you can't create 3 minutes out of a 1,440-minute period? This will really make your ancestors a little, as the kids say, tight. And they may start hurling energies into your life that you don't really want to deal with. So, again, to that end, do it every day, and they will show you the result. Our next question comes from another one of my students, Malachi Roberts. How you doing, Malachi? Malachi Roberts asks, is Archangel Michael on the planet in physical form, or are you and him avatared in the same body? Malachi, I am not Archangel Michael. I'm going to let your other students ask you and inquire as to why you ask that. I'm sure you have great reasons, right? Tahuti and Mikael are, as I've said before, and you've been there, they're very, very close. Their origins are the same, but they are 2 different beings. And there, you know, I noticed, I've come across, and it's not just you, Malachi, I've come across a couple of people throughout my years who have this strange fantasy about thinking that they are Archangel Michael. Cut it out, guys. If you think that you're Archangel Michael, you are not Archangel Michael. He is not on the planet as an unconscious human that is not aware of who he is. It is a fantasy that a lot of people suffer from. I want to snap you out of that. I want to slap you out of that. There is somebody that told someone that they were Archangel Michael. You know who you are. Shame on you for doing that. When I was told that you did that, I was disgusted. I couldn't believe you had the gall to tell someone that they were Archangel Michael. You've got to be kidding me. You guys have to stop this foolishness, and I'm going to keep shaming you out of that until you guys get it. If you were Archangel Michael, you would know it, and you definitely would not be in the roach, rat, bed bug infested neighborhood, apartment, one bedroom corner that Earth happens to be. Let's just leave it at that for the time being. Okay? So I hope that answers your question, Malachi. Our next question comes from Pamela Lazarus. And Pamela, hey guys, let's get the thumbs back up. Let's get the thumbs up and the like button up. Take this video and share it with your friends. We should probably have a lot more people now. A lot of people are not ready for Galacticus yet. We are one of the best kept secrets out there. You know, a lot of you guys are like, I'm not going to share my Galacticus with anybody else. I'm going to keep it all to myself. That's cute. But why not get the karma that is associated with bringing the light to someone else? Something to think about, isn't it? Okay, so Pamela Lazarus on Facebook asks, how can we have the conversation with school-aged children about spiritual things this society tries to force Christianity on them at an early age? All right, so Pamela, one of the things that I would say is that I personally believe that it is important for people to have the institution of a foundation that is religion. You're not going to give a child an AK-47 without training the child how to use it. The kickback alone might damage the body of the young child. So what do? You give them a water gun and they'll squirt the fluid at you and they'll get accustomed to what the gun is. This is probably the wrong analogy because you don't really want to deal with guns, right? But let's just say, because I know you guys know what guns are. And when you look at the power of higher teachings, it is my opinion that there is a benefit to knowing about the Christianite doctrine. It gives you a basis and a foundation from which to emerge and grow from. If you don't have the indoctrination of the Christianite doctrine, you don't know really what the Bible or what's in the Bible, you don't have a place to grow from. You have no reference point to compare how well or how far you have grown away from the distance of your origin. You follow that? Now, children are going to be children. Allow the children to go to church. There's nothing wrong with that. You can allow your children to go to Sunday school and study and be inculcated with that. There are certain things that you can kind of let them know along the way. You can drop some seeds so that they don't get too encumbered and enravaged by the mythology. For now, it's fine. It'll be okay when they get old enough to make their own decisions, but you keep dropping little gems here and there. Introduce them to chemontology, Lord Thoth, Medu Neter, some of the other higher texts that come from before the Bible's existence. You can do that when they have a developed foundation first and give them the opportunity to laterally exchange juxtaposition, if that makes sense. It's not something that I would worry about right now. Wait till your children, and another part of your question may be is, what age is a good age to introduce spirituality to your children? You could start now. You could teach them about meditation, yoga, Buddhism, all kinds of things, lighter things. But when they get, I believe that children should be children first, with a very light touch of spirituality, because it can be very heavy. It can cause other things if they're not ready for. So watch your child, know the child's personality. And if the child wants it and they're ready for it and they ask for it, we have Galacticus babies, right? So Maria Francis, you have Sophia, Racina, you have Destiny. And I think they have some, our young ladies have an appetite for what they see their parents being involved in. If there is a natural curiosity that happens as a result of your children watching you perform ritual, hypernatural magic, or burning ancestor money, by all means, share with them why you're doing it and educate them on that. But it's not something that you have to be concerned with before it's time. All right? I am Sri Master Gano Grills for Galacticus, and thank you so much for joining us again.
Ooh.